And then I thought that the next approach to sort of attracting the opposite sex would be to get extremely fucking massive.
Jello Beats, holla at me.
Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel and today's video. So we are today going to be discussing bulking mistakes or gaining face mistakes. So as a response to yesterday's video, which the feedback was really good, we did have some questions, and for sure I will raise those topics in future videos. But this is almost like a follow-up video with regards to what I have personally done wrong and how you can not do that. And that's what I really want to put across today. So let's take us back. Let's go on a little bit of a trip backwards in AJ's little life so far. So let's go back to 2014. In 2014, I was quite a lean guy. I did a lot of running. I did like 5Ks now and again. I wasn't too good. I think my best 5K time was something between 30 and 40 minutes. I'm not quite sure, but I wasn't amazing. But I was quite lean, and this was fun because over that summer, it was like I was leaving secondary school. There was a lot of like prom stuff, I remember, and it was probably the first year where I wore a vest, and I had a little bit of cap to my delts because I had been doing some weight training, albeit not optimal weight training, and you know, this was probably 2013, not 2014. Yeah, 2013. So it was a nice phase because I was lean. I was like that sort of shredded student look that doesn't really lift look, you know. So it was fun, and that played into my cards with attracting the opposite sex for a period of time, which is probably why I got into it and why I did the runs. And I thought that running would give me abs, and abs would give me females, and that only worked for a short period of time. And then I thought that the next approach to sort of attracting the opposite sex would be to get extremely fucking massive. And that really didn't work too well whatsoever, because what you've got to understand is that being massive, you know, at this stage I was started to read Flex magazine, and I didn't really understand the use of anabolic steroids at that point, and I just thought, wow, like, you know, if I look like John De La Rosa, then if I have arms like Victor Martinez, then I'm for sure going to like definitely attract all the females. And you know, you quickly realise that when you do sort of start to gain weight as a natural athlete, and you do try and gain it at the rate of trying to get to sort of like IFBB pro level, you immediately get quite fluffy in a very short window of time. So I went from this sort of guy that would have pretty small meals each day. I wouldn't track macros when I was like this lean guy that did running, etc. But I would eat really well. But the portion sizes would be quite small, like bikini athlete style diet. Not hating on bikini athletes, but like it was low calorie, and I'd have like couscous and chicken breast and maybe like a protein shake, and I'd start the day with maybe a little bit of oats or something like that. But looking back, it was probably generally quite low carb. So immediately after that, I went straight from this like athletic diet to an all-out muscle pursuit of maximum growth, just perma bulk. So I was like, right, okay, let's sit down, let's make this optimal meal plan to get like, you know, get like Victor Martinez, or I think John De La Rosa was my favourite actually at that time. I just remember seeing a front double bicep image of him and being like, fuck, his arms are amazing. So immediately getting that big. So first meal of the day was like 6 eggs with a mass gainer shake alongside it. Legit, that was legit it. 6 or 7 eggs. I can remember my mum just saying like, are you sure you're meant to be having that amount of eggs? And I was like, yeah, like absolutely. No, that's how this works. 6 eggs. It's like incredibly high cholesterol levels. So that would be breakfast, and then throughout the day I would eat a variety of garbage containers from Tupperware, and these would usually contain like chicken breast, but coated in like breadcrumbs, like fried. So I'd make it like into fried chicken basically, because that tasted good, because my appetite was down the drain within about a week. So I'd have like boxes of just filled with like rice and this fried chicken mix. And then post workout I'd have a mass gainer. I worked at Sainsbury's at the time, and on my till I'd have a fucking mass gainer shake. So like whilst I was sedentary, not doing jack shit on the till, I'd be drinking mass gainer. And then when I got home, I think pre-bed, it was usually I'd try and like ram down cottage cheese or whatever else I could ram down the esophagus without puking basically. So I gained weight rapidly looking back at it, and people were saying like, wow, AJ, like you're really making some progress in the gym because you're getting huge. And I was like, yeah, cheers. I'm getting huge. And in reality I was just getting absolutely gigantic fat wise. So the mistake, guys, that you learn from this is that when you do go into a gaining phase, just like you don't have to smash calories like that. That was the first mistake that I made. And someone made a really, really, really good question with regards to digestion. Now, digestion becomes a problem when you're eating that kind of food, because what essentially you're doing is trying to put in a lot of calories to get into this large calorie surplus, and I was trying to do it from primarily clean foods. That's the mistake that I wanted to highlight in this video, is that when you do push up your calories, do not be afraid of more calorie dense food items. I wish I knew about bagels, cereal bars, cereals, granola, things like this, that like in my last off season when my appetite started to diminish slightly, boom, in comes the calorie dense stuff. In comes the more palatable foods. If anything, when I started gaining, back in 2013, 2014, I just made foods immediately less palatable. And then by the end of that phase, I just started realizing, oh, I'm not gaining any more weight. Let's just eat crap and go on this like dirty bulk. And then of course I gained more weight on top of the stuff that I'd already been eating from the clean foods, and just looked even shitter. So the take home from that experience is that pushing your body weight up disgusting amounts is probably not advantageous. But I would look back on that phase and say that I probably did build quite a lot of muscle, because why? I didn't stay lean, I pushed my food up, and I trained fucking hard, guys. It got to the point where I was really lethargic and I didn't feel good, and that was probably where I should have pulled the plug. And if someone had told me to pull the plug, I wouldn't have done it, because I was just a very single-minded kid that just knew that I just wanted to get as big as hell, and I looked big in a hoodie, and that was it. And essentially all I did in that phase was I probably put on a decent amount of muscle. I'm not recommending that. I'm recommending a more sensible approach. But I put on a good amount of muscle, but I also put on way too much body fat. So the other take home from this video, guys, that you need to realise is that the mistake that I made was getting too fat, so that my diet, when I started it for the competition that I did in 2014, was horrendous. I had to lose 45 pounds over the course of like a 23-week prep. And that was probably the hardest prep that I've ever done. One, because I never got the satisfaction of getting super, super diced. And all I was essentially doing is coming back down to where I was when I was doing all the running and the activity, but with a bit more muscle mass. And like for sure I had a lot more muscle mass. And if anything, I probably built a decent amount of muscle mass coming down, because what people don't realise is when you are that fat, you have, even in a calorie deficit, you have plenty of body fat to provide energy to potentially build muscle and like be in an environment to produce hypertrophy. So, and I was in that environment for a decently long period of time because I was fat. For perspective, at the top of this off season, like 2-3 years later of training, I was 182 pounds. And at the peak of that well, I wasn't off season because I hadn't competed, but it was a gaining phase. I was like 188, almost 190. I looked awful. Awful. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. So this video has kind of been like just sharing my fun story. So it might be titled Stories of a Bad Bulk or Stories of a Fucked Up Bulk. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a lovely Tuesday. I've got a lower body session later on today. I might try and get some recording of it. And of course, any questions on this topic or any other topics, let me know. And I'll speak to you guys soon. Cheers. See you in a bit.